Welcome to Bold Talk. I'm Angela Belcamino. I have an incredibly bold guest here tonight doing incredibly bold things. Chrissie Mayr is here.
Yay! I'm so glad to be here, Angela. And I'm so sorry about the double pink eye that you're currently dealing with.
Oh my God. This is going to be a jam-packed interview for this, unexpected wittiness, laughs. I'm so happy that you're here. You have always been so good to me. I always have such a great time with you in person, virtually. You're incredible. And I'm so happy that I got to come see you in person and meet your little adorable one before I moved.
I know I miss you now. I don't know. People moving really can be a triggering event for some folks because it's like, oh yeah, you have the option to get out of here or mix it up or go try something new. Like, have you had people triggered by your move?
I think to a degree, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think even my clients, when I left my clients, I think it was difficult, but it also gave them hope. I think it instilled some hope of I can get out of New York City one day too. Not that
if I sell enough drugs, yeah, and save up, yes, you can escape.
It's just, I think change of paces are nice and having different experiences. How is New York right now? I mean, I know you're not in the city.
I have not been in New York City since last December. So it's almost been a full year since probably the last time I saw you.
I was going to say that was in January, I think.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So January, that was the last time I was in.
When we had the best dessert of my life.
Oh, wow.
That's still the best dessert I think I've ever had.
What was it? It was some kind of a bread pudding, wasn't it?
Sticky toffee pudding.
Sticky toffee pudding. That place was great. Yeah, we went to the Smith, which is the perfect little a place you go to feel like you're single again and out on the town. It's very noisy in there. It's a great place to bring a date that you don't really want to talk to very much because it's very echoey and you can just focus on the sticky toffee pudding. And we had a really good time. And I'm glad you're enjoying Florida. It's still summer weather down there. So I was asking Angela before we went live, the thing I think about all the time is when you live in a hot weather location, but the seasons change, do you dress in fall colors, but still in shorts and, in summer type clothes, but you dress to the fall color palette? Or is it just you can tear around in a bathing suit? You can dress like it's summer till the end of time.
I know. I'm pretty jealous right now of your hoodie because the fact that I'm wearing long sleeves tonight, it's just for the sake of this podcast episode. But no, I've done 12 years in New York City and the, eternal winter. So I'm really embracing the hot weather and if I can wear shorts and flip flops, it's
so true because you'll think, oh, fall, how quaint. And then it's winter and then it slogs on. And then it's really cold in February, really cold in March. And you're like, oh, it's still cold in April? This is unfair. And then poof, it's summer and it's hot garbage soup all over the city. And then it goes fast.
Yeah, no, it's short-lived, but no, I miss you too. I'm so happy that I feel like we were, just becoming friends and then I left you high and dry. I know, but hopefully it seems like you're traveling a lot these days. I'm super excited for you. You've been doing all these appearances and you've got a lineup of shows coming up.
Oh yeah. I'm going to very exotic locations like Massillon, Ohio. I'll be there next weekend to do some shows, then San Diego on the 23rd, and then I'll be in Chandler, Arizona, November 1st, Albuquerque, November 2nd, and then doing back to New York to do a fundraiser show December 6th. So if you guys want to come, get tickets. It's so much fun. Go to chrissiemayr.com. Sit in the front. I won't make fun of you too much. It's more just I don't know, a group hang and we all talk about each other. Well, it's mostly me talking about you, but I promise you won't leave in tears unless you want to.
No, you're good. You're good fun. You've always been so nice to me. Like we have fun and yeah. That is something that is a big regret right now. I didn't get to see you. There was a whole plan and then
There
that
was
show
a whole
fell
plan.
through to
Yeah.
see you perform.
It
So
was a plan and then the show got canceled, but it's all right. It's that happens sometimes, like with clubs. Like that particular club, I think, like had a hard time like getting people in because they have showcase shows. I don't know the inner workings.
it was also winter. I mean, when we met up still and it was brutally cold and
coats up to here, hoods. You're like, no wonder. You're like, let me get the hell out of this place.
taking off 5 scarves and you're just like dripping, like you're crying and
yeah,
people hibernate.
Have you found a new nail person? Because I know like you always had really nice nails.
Oh my God. I swear to you guys, I did not pay her to ask this question. I actually have really cool nails right now.
What?
I know. Is that they're pretty insane? Yeah. So the answer is yes. And I was worried that I wouldn't, but Florida delivered. I gotta say.
What was the process of finding a new nail person? What was the interview process like? Because you were like, look, I need chrome. I need shit glued to them. I need sometimes claws. I'm going to be wearing 100 rings. So you're going to have to deal with that.
Oh my God, I love you so much. This is so true. Yeah, this is like I like to research. This is me doing my own deep dive of research. And I mean, this is a positive of social media these days. It's all out there. You can I was searching like Orlando nail art salons, etc. Maybe spent a little too much time doing that and then like kind of just seeing what was out there and taking screenshots of inspo pics and you're just like, I'm going to give it a try. And then she really blew my mind. And it was cheaper than New York.
Wow. So this was like the first new place you went and they nailed it? Okay, cool.
Nailed it.
I nailed it. Oh, yeah. I can't get my nail lady to do shit. I'm like, hey, what about this? She's like, haha, that's so nice. Anyway, pick a color.
I feel like I saw a picture where you had some nail art or something. No?
Yeah, those are the press-on ones.
Those are good too, though, to be honest. Like sometimes if my nails go a little too long and I jab one and it breaks, then I will do a press on. I mean, they'll last a good 2 weeks.
Yeah, some of the ones that you can glue on really do. They're like perfect if I'm like going out to do a gig and I'm like, oh, I didn't have time to get my nails done. I just like do them on the plane. Although sometimes the stewardesses will be like, oh, you can't use nail glue on the plane. And I'm like, you can't even smell it. It's like, I know you can't smell this because I can't smell it. And it's right
here. Nail glue. No.
They just like to, thwart it. Like, they just like to flaunt their power. Stewardesses. And I'm not going to call them flight attendants. Some people call them air waitresses. I don't know.
So you have been doing a lot of traveling. I'm super excited for you having, shows lined up. Have you pretty consistently done stand up, or have you had any periods where you took a break?
Oh, for sure. Like I was just doing my business taxes for 2024 and I was like, almost like, why do I even do this? What's the point? I spend all this money on dumb shit and I don't know, I didn't make this much because I had the baby in 2024 and probably 25 is going to be pretty similar. So yeah, it really is. I am currently now in this period of like who am I? Sometimes I really feel like I don't even have time to write jokes. Like, am I even funny anymore? Am I just a mom? Am I because it's just I have zero resentment. I am not one of those people that's like, because I feel like I lived such a full life and I've had plenty of like single time and also like a lot of time dating my husband too, not being married. And he has now a 14-year-old son, my stepson. So I feel like we have been through so much together that by the time we like got married, I was like, oh, it already feels like we are married and we've been through it all together, like deaths and mostly deaths and like traveling together. And so that's when I was like, okay, I know this is like my ride or die.
Definitely.
Yeah. Being pregnant was like kind of like I got a kind of an easy time with it. Like, and then your last trimester is just, you feel big, you start knocking into stuff, and then you have the baby, and then you're like, oh, like all of you just naturally, everything orients to like keeping this baby alive. And it's the best, it is the best thing I've ever done. I can't recommend it enough to people. Like, do whatever you can to have a baby. It's like, it's just the best. It's endless joy. And he's 17 months now. I'm starting to have this thing where like, and you can't like have it all. Like I look back, I was so busy and so productive right before my wedding, like 2021, 22, 23 even. I felt like I was going viral a lot. I was doing a lot of gigs. I was doing a lot of appearances. Like my whiteboard was full of stuff. And it's a little bit of like a different time right now. And again, I like remember like I never get resentful. I just feel a little bit like, all right, I'm doing this now, and I have to remember like he's only going to be this little once, and like every day I'm kind of like, he's never going to be this little again. And I because everyone tells me it goes so fast. I know that I'll blink and he'll be 10 or something. So I know that like in this period of what seems like, oh, you're not crushing it in your career, you're not being super productive or getting a lot done. It's like you have to invest so much into the baby in terms of like everything, mind, body, soul. Like breastfeeding takes so much out of you. I think it's harder to breastfeed for 17 months than it is to be pregnant and give birth, because that's only really like 10 months. And that's it's such a commitment like that. I don't know. You learn a lot about yourself because you're watching your caffeine, you're watching your alcohol. Like if I drink, I have a drink and then that's it. You got to wait 2 hours before you can like nurse or pump. And then every time I'm on the road, I have to bring like this cooler, like this camping cooler, to put my breast milk in. And I have to bring a pump that's like this big, and it's a whole apparatus. It's like a lot of equipment that I have to bring with me and do it. Now it's like less intense. I'll do it maybe every like 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours, depending. But when he was really little, and if I went away, which wasn't often, then you got to pump like every 3 hours, every 4 hours. And sorry, this is just now the breastfeeding podcast, but
no, it's so real, and it's so like this is shit that people need to know, and especially men need to know.
Men that breastfeed, right? Yeah, it's hard, but that was one thing I really committed to when I had the baby. I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. It was 2 things. I was like, I wanted to have as natural a birth as possible. I really like, but then a lot of that kind of can go out the window. As soon as you get to the hospital, you're sort of at the mercy of like, not whatever they want to do, but let's say your water breaks early, like mine did. I had no idea my water was even broken. I just thought I was leaking, and then that was normal. And then I roll up there. They're like, no, your water's broken and you're having contractions. And I was like, damn, I didn't even know that was going on. He was like, let's get this party started. He was 9 days early. And then I was annoyed because I'm like, oh, I didn't get to do my big entrance. I didn't get to have my song playing and my outfit and my luggage or whatever. And then they had to put you on the drugs to get it going. And then you're like, well, so much for the drug-free birth. And then I held out for hours, thought I could just give birth with no epidural. Nope, it was like the war. And because the drugs they give you to move it along, Cytotec and Pitocin, also I think make it more painful. So then you do need the epidural after 4 hours of like, all right, this is like mooing like a cow, thinking like, how much longer is this going to take? And you have no idea. So you're like, all right, let's fucking do the epidural, I guess. And then you can't. Then they're like, now you have to push a human out of you, even though you can't feel anything from the waist down. Explain that to me. Why that's a good idea. How am I able to give this my full gusto if I can't even feel anything? I don't understand the medical industry, but
somehow you did it.
I did it somehow. I still feel like I could have done a better job, but like I spent so much time like reading books and taking classes, and like I think there's a certain point where you just have to go it happens whether you're ready or not.
Yeah.
Birth is such a crazy, humbling experience, because whatever like if you're type A, or if you're, I think it just upends you in a way, like it really challenges you and like tests you. And you have to just,
Absolutely. I can't honestly think, and I obviously, I don't have any kids and I have not gone through that. Yet, baby fever in Florida. Hey, coming at you. But no, I can't think of an example of anything that you would go through that would really show you your strength and like really challenge you to the degree of that.
I think maybe like, I don't know, joining the Marines or something.
Right.
Or maybe I did compare childbirth to like doing a Spartan race, like doing a 10-mile Spartan race, which I did do. You're like crawling through the mud, you're like freaking exhausted, you're breaking all your nails, you're just getting filthy. It is kind of like that in terms of like endurance, and like you just have to embrace the sweat, and like you're puking. Nobody told me about that you'd be puking. And then because I see women like Riley Gaines just had a beautiful baby girl, but she looks perfect in her like post-birth photo, and I'm like, how?
But is it real?
They must have it, and I don't like begrudge that at all. Like, great. These people must have teams though, because I know what my photo looks like where I just gave birth. It's like somebody rubbed a balloon on my head for 6 hours, and that's what my hair looks like. I have no makeup, not a trace, not even an idea of makeup on. And I'm like, who knows? There's probably puke on me, and I'm just deliriously tired. And I'm like, is this a baby, or is this a shaved cat on me? I don't even know what's going on. I was in the process of pushing, and the nurse was like, do you want to feel his head? Like, do you want to reach down and feel his head? I was like, no. I thought in my mind, like, what if I just don't push hard enough and he never comes out?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've made a lot of great points in terms of you can only plan so much.
Everyone should do it. Everyone should do it.
Everybody should do it. Yes, you really made a solid argument for it. No, every time I talk with you, I can tell how much you love being a mother and how much you love him. That definitely comes across so authentically. So I think that you're obviously such a wonderful mother. But yeah, in terms of life, we can try to plan, right? But life always has other plans. And so I think it really, the more that you just can kind of roll with things, and like, that's the more, resilient and strong you become, and, really prepares you for other stuff. And then, like you said, having a partner go through things like that, grief, birth, like all of these tough life things, if you can power through those together, it makes sense why you're still together.
It's what's good having a supportive partner, is like, because I wouldn't say I'm going through like a comedy sort of like identity crisis, maybe a little bit. Like if you come to a show, like I'll very much have a set like of, jokes. Like I have my set, I know what to say on stage, I know how to make people laugh, but thinking about like, what's my next like hour going to be like, or what kind of material am I going to have about being a mom? And then there's this added thing of I'm converting to Catholicism. I'm taking these, I call them adult CCD classes, but it's called OCIA, something about Christian initiation of adults or something, because my whole husband's family is Catholic. The baby was baptized Catholic. I was raised Methodist, but I'm like, you know what? I've always been very like, I've wanted to deepen my relationship with God. And I feel like Catholics, what I'm going through now is like, I think boot camp. And like the Catholics like to make you jump through a lot of hoops, which I actually respect and like, because it feels like it's the most like intense form of religion. Like it's the way to get the closest to God, I think, because I was a Protestant, and it seems just sort of watered down. And I'm like, I don't want to have a watered down. Like I want to like see how deep I can go. And so now I'm having this also sort of identity crisis of how do I think about like my platform and all the followers and like whatever, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. And I think about like, how can I use comedy and my platform like for the way, like how is God using me right? Like what is my purpose really outside of being like a mother and wife, like what kind of a message, like why am I here? What am I supposed to do with this platform? What's the best way to what's the best use of having all these followers and fans, right? The platform, whatever you want to call it. Thinking of it's tricky because like being a stand-up comedian, it's not like a selfless act. Like I got into it because I had daddy issues and I had like family issues at home and I didn't feel comfortable like expressing myself or being honest. So that's part of what drew me into stand-up is I could just be myself and I'd be like, I'll never see these people again. And I can be honest on stage and not worry about hurting anybody's feelings. I got into it like probably for selfish reasons. I was like a creative person, but now it's like, okay, I've been doing stand-up since like 2011, I guess. It's like almost 15 years, I guess I've been doing it. Just thinking about like, I don't know, is there like a deeper reason for this? Like basically like how can I use a platform for like God's purpose, I guess. I'm not really saying it eloquently, but
you are though. You really are, speaking to personal evolutions and journeys. And I think throughout life, it's something we can all relate to. I think our priorities change. And I think that it's really cool that you're giving this stuff such thought. Like you obviously care to be putting all this thought into your purpose and what you want to be putting out there in the world. So I love that. I think that's a beautiful thing, but it sounds like a lot, right? It's like a lot. It sounds like a lot of, you're juggling a lot. You're wearing a lot of hats. It sounds like a tough place that you're in, but I definitely respect and admire that you're being so intentional about your content and what you want to put out there.
It is tricky. It seems such a like juxtaposition between like, hold on, but like, don't you just tell dick jokes? And now like you're trying to think like what you do is so important. And then as I go through this process of like converting to Catholicism, like, oh, does that mean like, would God prefer I don't do certain types of jokes? But then you're like, no, God is funny. God definitely has a sense of humor. He wants you to use your gifts. Like that's why he gave them to each of us. So it's just kind of like, does God get upset when I call someone a fag? He knows I'm joking.
No, these are really like good questions. And I think it's a good thing to ask questions in life. And a lot of people right now are not about that, but I definitely am. I think, the more that we can ask ourselves questions, the stronger our beliefs are, right? It challenges us to like think outside the box and just, have that intention. And some people are scared of asking questions right now. But I think that's a smarter thing to do. And really figuring out who you are, who you want to be, what you believe in. Yeah.
I'll probably just download a lot of Bible apps and I'll be like, tell me a verse every day. Tell me what to do. I don't know. How can I make this easy?
So going back to like your start in comedy, around what time were you like always funny as a kid, or was there like a certain moment or experience where you were like, yes, I want to pursue this?
I think I was always funny as a kid. I was always trying to like get, and it's is it a nature versus nurture thing? Who knows? Like I would get attention for being funny. So, I mean, all kids want attention for something, right? And it was just the easiest way for me to get attention. Or did I like being funny? Did I like making people laugh? It's hard to know, right? But that's something I leaned into because I knew like, oh, I can, if like mom or if anybody in the family is upset, I know I can make them laugh. So probably like, if we were gonna like psychoanalyze me,
that we are a little, because mental health.
That's something I could always do to like make someone else feel better. And I remember I always say like I would do funny. My dad would always call me like an imp. He's like, you're like an imp. You're impish. I don't know if that's even a compliment. Like I thought an imp is like a devilish descriptive word. But I would be like in church with my family and there'd be prayer sheets that I would always doodle on because they have pencils there. You're supposed to write like pray for Helen. And I would just draw a picture of the church, and I drew a picture of like the pastor jumping off the roof of the church, and then I just would pass it down to my grandma, and she'd be like, "What? No, this is terrible." But then she'd save all of them.
Oh.
And I liked the spotlight, even if when I was like the little sheep in the church play, I would just be like, I'm going to just take a little bit longer to walk to the front of the stage. And I would bring this puppet to church. I'd be like, that's a real cat. And I thought I had people fooled, like, wow, that's a real cat. And I'd be like, oh yeah, it is. Wow. She's just talking to me and looking around. Stupid. They were just humoring me. And then in high school, I did a couple plays, not like lead roles or anything. No, what am I talking about? I did one play where I was a prostitute. I was a courtesan, and a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. And I did like several years of like red and blue, which is like basically what the high school did before girls could do sports. So it's like you do dances, you pick a theme, you make costumes. It's crazy. Friendships are lost. It's very dramatic. It's a very dramatic time in a high school girl's life. And yeah, I was really into gymnastics, really into diving. Yeah, I was super into sports, but yeah, always had the sort of like funny bug. And yeah, I was very upset about not winning class clown in high school. I was like, wow, I really thought I
How
gave
is that even possible?
I don't know. I got most spirited though, which is pretty good. I do love spirits, so that worked out. And then, yeah, it's always was like something there. I felt like my sense of humor was always something in the back seat that I never really truly like focused on till college. I like dabbled a little in improv, but because I wasn't a theater major, I was kind of kicked out after one semester. And then when I was a senior in college, I thought I wanted to be a reporter. Basically, all throughout college, I was like, I'm majoring in communications. I guess I'll just be a reporter. I entered a Dateline. I was like, oh, this is horrible. Then I interned at Conan when he was still in New York when I was a senior. And I was like, okay, comedy, this feels like more my people. This isn't so stuffy. And it's not like, it feels like I can be myself around these people. And all the guys that worked at Conan, the writers were like, do improv, do improv. So I did 5 years at UCB and Magnet, which are two improv theaters in the city. Then I did a one-woman show for 6 weeks that ran at the Magnet Theater. And then I started to do stand-up. And that was like, I guess 2011 is when I started stand-up. And that one woman show gave me the confidence I needed to do stand-up because like I had just been used to improv. You're part of a group, like you kind of have everybody else to lean on if you're not so funny or something bombs. But like stand-up is really like it intimidated me a lot in the beginning because I'm like, it's just you up there. And it really took me years to be myself on stage. Whereas like when I first started, I'm like, oh, I had to have jokes like written on my hand, like probably most stand-ups do, because you're just like, I don't know what to say. But now I'm at the point where like you can just kind of go up there and talk, and like a dog sniffing around for a place to poop. It's like you'll find a place to poop. You'll poop. This is a terrible metaphor. You'll find somewhere to poop on this audience.
No, I love it because, again, going back to bold things, it's like there's so many things that you've mentioned that just sound so scary and terrifying. Even like improv to me sounds scary. And then you're like one woman show and like stand up. And I'm like, this all sounds terrifying.
Improv is scary because like it's so the opposite of stand up in so many ways. Like improv, the people who do it are totally different than the people who do stand up. Improv, it's all theater kids. It's a lot of people whose like parents are paying their rent. They're trying to be actors. They all think they're hot shit and are going to go on SNL. And then it's also people who are like, I want to brush up on my public speaking skills, and they just work in regular corporate America, and they're like the least funny people you've ever met in your life. So it's like a combination of both those types in improv, and they tell you don't be funny because they really like teach it to you more like it's an acting class. Like, don't be funny, just listen and build the scene from nothing. Don't have any of your ideas yet, just yes and. I mean, like you can have your ideas, but it has to go with like it's very like a very particular set of skills which do kind of help you in life. I mean, not with making money, but just being a good listener, I guess. And then stand-ups are all like lone wolves. It's people who they're from all walks of life. Like Mark Normand was a janitor. Lots of people have regular day jobs and are pursuing it on the side at nighttime. And then, of course, you also have some who just don't work and their parents are paying their rent too. But then their material is going to be a little more boring because they haven't lived enough life to talk about it yet. And then you have the occasional, like, I'm 14 doing stand up. You're like, nah, I'll give that a year. I'll give that till you hit puberty and you're interested in girls and you'll probably not want to get on stage again. So, and it's very like every man for himself. It's more autonomous, which is good because you can get in more sets if you do more open mics. Whereas with improv, you're really at the mercy of like your team. Like, oh, you have to pay for a coach, you have to pay for a space to practice in. Whereas like stand up, you also have to pay like a $5 open mic or buy a beer or buy a pizza slice or something. But you can kind of like get more done, I think, if you really want to with stand up. So yeah, I just started doing stand up, and then it's all scary though in different ways. But with improv, it's more like the training felt like, oh, this seems like what an actor would go through. And then also with the one woman show, I really felt like that was the most actor experience I ever had because I'm rehearsing lines. I was doing my rehearsals like in the drama bookshop in New York City on, I think, 42nd Street or 43rd Street. And everyone's going in there to get their like scripts, like Broadway people. Broadway people. So yeah, all of it is scary. I don't know
That's
why.
incredible. I mean, yeah, that's incredible. The fact that you did a one-woman show, I don't know, doesn't surprise me about you, but that's
Like in my 20s.
wow.
Yeah. Like,
Wow.
it probably would be better now if I did one because I feel like I've lived a life, but I don't know. I was pretty scrappy in my 20s as well. I was living with a lot of Craigslist roommates really builds a lot of character, I think.
A lot of these experiences that you have had are serious character builders from everything that you've described. So,
For sure. One of my roommates, Susan, 65 years old, this is when I lived in Queens. I lived with her probably 4 years. I think I may have had Stockholm syndrome. This was the worst. Like I swear it was rent controlled and I was paying for the whole thing, but I rented a room from her. If I had something on one of her shelves, she would take it out and like leave it on the ground. Like she was passive aggressive like that. And she would eat the last of my birthday cake. She would eat my snacks. She would eat my Kind bars and never replenish. But if I didn't sort the garbage in the right way, there'd be hell to pay. And I just can't believe I lived with a 65-year-old woman who I was not related to. But that just goes to show you what a good girlfriend I am because I only moved there to be closer to a man that I was seeing. So.
Well, you probably got some good material off of these experiences.
She was definitely like a crusty NPR type, like Democrat too. I'm glad I wasn't like politically radicalized back then because I would have like been like, yeah, Susan, I'm going to January 6th. What are you going to do about it? I'll bring you back a hat.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know you've also been an advocate of, keeping your day job or like working your full-time job, like while pursuing all these things on the side, which is a major hustle. What were some of the jobs that you had while you were pursuing comedy?
How much time do we have? I think I've had 15 or 16.
Like round robin, like real quick.
15 or 16 day jobs. All right, let's go way, way back. First job ever, best job ever was when I was a lifeguard and I was also a diving coach. That was like the most fulfilling, best job I've ever had because you're actually like
you were a diver, right?
Yeah, you're like teaching people how to do stuff and you're teaching these kids. The kids you end up getting on the team are like not particularly athletic. They're just the kids who like aren't good at other sports and like their parents don't know what to do with them all summer. So you get these very uncoordinated, but then you get some that are just like daredevils that'll just throw flips. They'll do whatever you say and they're like physically adept. They're like, they have good skill. And then some which are like gymnasts. And then you have to teach them like, okay, it's not a balance beam. You got to like take your approach. You got to bounce on this thing. You got to like coach that out of them a little bit, but it's fun. You're like holding kids upside down by their ankles. Like, this is what it feels like to go backwards. Get used to it. It's the best. And then I had a job in production, like for Fashion Week, where I just was like making wires with my bare hands, like in a windowless office with a bunch of other sweaty dudes. I was like, I'm working in TV. It's like, no, it's slave labor. I worked at like 2 different advertising agencies. One where I was a proofreader. Why? Well, who on earth would give me a proofreading job? I like don't have attention to detail, and I got fired. I think I've been fired like 4 or 5 times. What's good about getting fired so many times is like you really build up a thick skin. Like it took me longer and longer to start crying. Like at first I got fired. I'm crying right away in the HR office. I'm like, The next time I made it all the way to my desk, and then I started crying. Time after that, I made it all the way to the elevator. Time after that, all the way to the train and then home. So, it gets better and better. Got other jobs I had. I worked at a hedge fund during the economic collapse. So this is like 2008. And before that, like I got hired in, say, like, I don't know, the fall. And then for Christmas, they took us on the most bougiest Christmas trip. We had an office in New York and an office in London. And the job was called, the hedge fund was called Trafalay. I don't even know if it exists anymore. But the fund manager was this guy, Remy Trafalay, very bougie. Everyone's very well to do. And my job was to work for like 4 different analysts. And you're like, I'm like the least, like it's finance. I don't know I didn't take any finance classes in college. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. But you're just there to be an assistant, right? Anyway, so we went to this like very bougie Christmas trip. They flew both offices out to like the 4 Seasons in Puerto Rico, and then they chartered a private yacht around the British Virgin Gorda Islands for a weekend. They had like they docked the ship. We went out, and then they floated over to us, the surfboard full of caviar. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I know it's expensive. I'm gonna eat my body weight in this because I don't know when I'll ever see this type of
I've
thing.
I've never had caviar. I don't.
It's just like salty. It's like just tastes like very salty sushi.
Salty eggs, or
salty eggs. It's like boba eggs, but saltier.
Right.
And that was a fun job too. The traders were all like getting drunk. They're jumping off the yacht in their suits. And I was like, can I jump off? And then the HR lady was like, no, the women don't jump off the boat. We have to stay. I should have been like, fuck that shit, and just jumped. Because I could have swam in my dress. And that was a very old school, like all the men, like the traders were dudes and all the assistants were women. Oh, there was a very strict rule on closed-toed shoes. I'm like, what? They can't see our toes? Like, God forbid they'll get so erect and not be able to do their jobs. And I had one of my bosses for sure was jerking off in his office because like when I was tidying up his office once and I saw like big old mahogany desk and there was like a cupboard ajar, and I just like go to close it and I look in and there's a bottle of open lube, like current lube, active lube, just sitting right there. And I'm like, oh, now I know why he locks the doors, why Phil locks his doors for long periods of time. Fast forward to a future day job when I worked at an all boys prep school on the Upper East Side. You're interviewing parents. They're basically like, they're trying to get their kids in for kindergarten. It's like very fancy and hard to get into. In fact, like they interviewed Barron Trump there, but he ended up going to, I think, his dad's school. And so anyway, who walks in with their wife but Phil, the very guy I used to work for at the hedge fund? I was like, hello, Phil Fisher, look who it is. I don't think he recognized me. I think he was like, I was like, hello, remember me? That was fun.
Life is crazy.
Been like, did you tell your wife you jerk off at work?
Right, exactly. Like, you had some blackmail material there.
Yeah, and I ultimately got fired from that job because I didn't know what a red-eye flight was. I thought it was an airline. I'm looking up. He's like, book me on the red eye, and I was like, okay. Like, I had no clue what I was doing generally. So yeah, worked at that was another cool job too, working at the prep school and admissions. Oh, then I worked at a title insurance agency. I still don't know what happens there. A lot of different receptionist jobs. Like I would just The people I liked, I would draw pictures on their lunch bags, and like I would just call them, be like, "Your lunch is here." I had a very important job.
That's cute.
And I was 2 floors up from the rest of the company. So if I wanted a bathroom break, I had to like instant message somebody and wait. And sometimes people would never come. So I just eventually stopped drinking water. I became a camel. And then I've
had those jobs too.
I left over to like a huge media company. That was the last day job I had. I was there for 6 years. I worked at the International Emmys. My boss was the president of the International Emmys. So remember when they gave Andrew Cuomo an Emmy during the pandemic for his amazing job? No, that was my dumbass boss at the time. I was like, you probably shouldn't. People are very upset about the nursing home debacle. And he's like, ah. And then they ultimately like made him give back the Emmy, I think, eventually when he was disgraced from molesting or being Italian, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So I ultimately got fired from that job for not taking the jab.
I remember, yes, we discussed that. It's very well-rounded, diverse experience, which I think is really important. And it just makes you a more full person, and really, again, with the material, and you've experienced so much.
I wish I had known like when I was in college, so I could be like, oh yeah, so I'm preparing myself to have all kinds of secretary jobs. This is what we're paying all this money for, so I can be a glorified secretary. Great.
Well, you're killing it. You're killing it, and you are such a well-rounded person with lots of knowledge and experience, and I love that. And so I do want to go back to you mentioned you mentioned all things I wanted to ask you about: Conan O'Brien, the one woman show. There was also America's Got Talent in there.
Oh yeah.
We're on America's Got Talent. How was that experience?
I was cut immediately, and I just, I say it to have impressive credits. But yes, I technically was on the show. It's not a very stand-up comedy friendly show.
Yeah,
they don't really like you unless you're like a head to toe burn victim with a tail who's trans. They want a human interest story. They don't want just like a regular old.
Yeah, I could see that. I think with a lot of these reality shows, they really want that dramatic like story and, just amp up the drama.
Are you an orphan? Great, you're in.
Yeah. I could see that. It sounds like I was going to ask you, like, were you ever nervous starting out doing stand up?
And sure.
I can kind of gather based on what you've said that.
Oh yeah, I still get nervous. Like I still get anxious before every single show because I'm always like, what the hell? Am I spending enough time preparing for this? Like, what the hell am I going to say? Like, who am I right now? And then similar to diving, I would get nervous before meets, and then as soon as you get one joke off, like get the first laugh, like, oh, I'm okay, I'm still funny, this will be okay. And yeah, in the beginning of comedy, I would do. There's only a certain number of ways like you would come up back then. Like now, if you have social media, you don't even have to do open mics. But back in my day, when I started in the early aughts or the 2010s, you would have to do bringers, bring all your friends to comedy shows until you have no friends left. And you bring like 8 people, you get 8 minutes, 10 minutes. You record that, you use that set to apply to festivals or other shows. And then you just make friends over the years doing stand-up, doing mics. You get on their produced shows. Then you get on better produced shows. And then if if your politics are correct, then maybe you get on a late night spot. But if they're not, then I guess
that's interesting that you brought that up. I was actually going to ask you about that, a little bit about your political journey and how that kind of factors into your, career in comedy. And is there politics involved in that in terms of like what opportunities you have access to, who you get to perform with and things like that?
Oh, for sure. Like back when I was starting out, like, there was a time where I was being looked at for Colbert. And then just the process was so long that it just like, it fell apart. Like several comedians have the same experience, but it came a point, like, I think in 2018 when I started to wake up politically a little bit. Like, I knew that's when I kind of like left the left, and I knew like, oh, I don't really identify with being a Democrat anymore. And part of that was also like I met my husband in 2014, but like it took a few years for him to sort of like jostle me awake and realize like, oh, I'm probably more libertarian in a lot of ways. And probably even now, as I get older, like getting more conservative on certain things like the border and, like immigration and taxes and shit and wanting smaller government. So, but when you're like in your 20s, you have no clue about the world. You haven't lived enough life yet to know any better. You just know that it's like fashionable to be a liberal. No offense to the liberals in the room.
Well, I'm not so fashionable right now, so because I'm asking questions, going back to asking questions and having conversations. For some reason, that's frowned upon by a lot of people. Yeah,
you're supposed to just repeat the talking points.
Yeah,
I guess you could say that's true on both sides. People like to like stay in their side, stay in their bubble, not be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit worse though with the left in terms of like not wanting to debate or explain their beliefs. But yeah, all the late night shows are very left leaning. So all the casting directors are going to pick comedians who are left leaning, who are trans, who are diverse, people of color, etc. It's not enough to just be a ginger anymore. You have to be more than that. So, but yeah, I think the time that I was sort of being scoped at for Colbert was like way before my political awakening. So my politics didn't have anything to do with that at that time. But then 2018, I started to I got my show on Compound Media in 2019, and just became like an out Trump supporter too around that time, which got me kind of ostracized from the New York City comedy community for sure. And then January 6th, there were people saying, let's make a list of all the comedians who were at January 6th so we can never book them on any show ever again. There were people messaging my Facebook friends, trying to get them to unfriend me, like just insane, like really ridiculous, like mob tactics, mob psychology. People tweeting like while I was there, oh, I don't know about the comedians in LA, but in New York, they're storming the Capitol. And this was like a woman who had like booked me on some shows over the years. And I'm just like, wow, the fact that someone will take the opportunity to like put you down, I don't know, just to get attention, I guess.
Well, and also without knowing your story, right? Because I feel like people are lumping anyone who was a part there for January 6th into the same category, but obviously everyone's story and experience that day is different. So they can't
who was there was like shitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk, or bursting through the windows or the doors. And now, like all these years later, it comes out there was 250 plus like federal agents there. Who knows? Maybe they're to escalate, maybe they're not. It's just the more information that comes out, the more insane it is. The more you're like, oh, this was such a setup. So, but it was a really magical day. It was a very magical experience. I'm happy I went. It feels like I was part of history. And I was lucky enough not to get wrapped up with like all those people who went to jail. I was like, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, oh, am I going to get arrested? Am I going to have to give birth? Maybe in jail? Would that be cool?
Oh my gosh. You were pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
Wow. What was your reason for being there that day?
I was covering it just like I had been at the rally in December and in November. So I went like the DC, like, November, December, January. I went with my friend Risflex, who's another YouTuber. And she does interviews and covers news too. So we would like share a hotel room together and be like train buddies. And like, I was there to interview people, just like see why people were there and just get a sense of how many like supporters Trump had and like what the big deal was. And yeah, it was interesting to talk to people. And then just kind of, but when I got there, I realized, oh, the internet was garbage because there was hundreds of thousands, possibly even 1 million people there that day. So you couldn't really live stream at all. I could record some things, but then after it all went down, I didn't want to post anything because they were using videos that were out there to prosecute people. So I was like, I'm not going to be the reason why somebody gets locked up. So it just was interesting. There was like all kinds of people there. I thought it was funny that they were just like these random black guys there selling merch. Like they're just like, hey, like selling random like Trump and Biden merch at the time. It was cool. It was a neat experience.
Well, I'm happy. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I'm happy for people to actually hear like your experience and, your experience that day, why you were there, what you were doing. I think that's important to hear so that people, again, with the narratives and the assumptions and all of that.
I was there for the food. That's what people don't, not enough people talk about how good the food was January 6th.
Yeah, let's keep it real. Thank you for keeping it real on that. How about any epic fail moments or like awkward moments, stand up, or like what's maybe the most outrageous thing that you did or said, or you were like, oops, or maybe not. Maybe you're like, I own it.
Most epic bomb was when I was performing at the Syracuse Funny Bone. I knew that my aunt and uncle were coming out because they lived like upstate in New York, but then my dad surprised me and came, and I just was like, I had like a very, I don't know, up and down relationship with my dad. Like towards the end, before he got murdered, we did sort of come to a good place. So that, but at the time, like we weren't in a great place, and I just was like, I was so awkward. Like I just couldn't get over the fact that he was there, and like my energy was bad. I just bombed so horribly in front of him, like just probably solidifying to him the idea that I'm a failure and not good at this. And I don't know, maybe should have stayed a secretary or something. And then other bomb. I mean, like, yeah, now I won't really have like a whole set that bombs. Maybe I'll have like a chunk or a joke that maybe doesn't go over well. Like you can always save it with other stuff. That's just from experience. And yeah, my favorite probably kind of viral moment that I caught was when I was at the Hyenas in Dallas a couple of years ago. This was like right before I got married. Also, I think it was 2023. And there were some like fat liberal women in the audience, and there was like some outbursts in the crowd. I'm talking about Dylan Mulvaney. I've talked about this on so many podcasts, but there was this moment where like this other guy in the crowd was like, "No, Dylan's a man." I'm like, "Yeah, he's a man." And then these land whales were like, "No, she's a woman." And it was like a back and forth. And I was like, "It's all right. This is America. Like we can have different beliefs. Some people can believe in reality and some people don't have to, because this is America. You can be delusional." And they finished their food and then they stomped out of there. And they said, "F you, transphobe." And it was just like beautiful. I caught the whole thing on tape. I was recording with my phone in the back. And then that ended up being like a nice little viral moment for myself. Then they just demolished my merch table. They complained to the manager. That was fun though. I just was shocked. I'm like, these ladies had no clue who they were seeing. Like maybe they just got free tickets or something. I just was shocked because they just did not look like my typical people. They look like your people, Angela.
My people.
They look like bold libs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not, if they disagree with you, that's one thing, right? But the reaction says a lot too. So, I mean, I feel like we're seeing a lot of that going on right now too. I think it's okay to disagree, but how you handle yourself and what you do, and being violent or being aggressive is not making your point. Like
it's you're that self-important that you think not only your opinion is right, but you need to disrupt the entire show to let the comedian know, and then the other people in the crowd know, like, you're wrong and you're horrible people, and I'm going to potentially ruin this show just so people can hear me and see me make a scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back also to your creative, I can't believe we're running out of time also. This is ridiculous. I know.
No.
I have so many things I want to ask you. Maybe we'll do a round two.
Okay.
But going back to your creative process, just because I'm so curious about this, do you have, like, I'm sure you just, collect material as you live life, but do you like have a process in terms of, do you write it down? Do you have a notebook? Do you, how do you, I don't know, what's your
I will throw us like the day before a show. Usually I like to like fly in if it's an out of town thing, I really do like to fly in at least the day before. And I need to have a lot of time in advance to think about it. Like not only where I am, like what do I want to comment on about the area or the city? What is it known for? Like what news, what's been going on here lately? So you're not just giving the same cookie cutter set. I like to just familiarize myself with the place somewhat. And I like to get to the venue super fucking early, like as early as it'll open, to just like sit there and like take it in and not be nervous. I hate to be like rushed. And then I'll just have a set on like, I don't know, the back of a menu or like a random piece of paper from the hotel. I'll fold it into thirds and I'll put like keywords of each joke and I'll just like look at it, stare at it, memorize it. Sometimes if it's like a new thing I want to say about the area or a new joke, I'll put that on there too. And if I forget, I'll like, okay, it's on the stool. So I can be like, oh, here's this new joke I wanted to try. But yeah, it's just, and then I just think about, sometimes I'll rattle around like a topic in my head for like weeks, days. And then sometimes just a rant will bring about material. Like at my last show in Plano, Texas, I was ranting about what it was like to be like traveling with your breast milk and the pump. And it's like, it sounds like a high powered vibrator and you're scaring you. You have to pump in the bathroom. You have to pump in the closets. Like, and then you have to bring this huge cooler with you. And I'm like, the guys in the back are probably drinking it. You have to ask everybody, can I keep my breast milk in your fridge? Like everywhere you go, you have to keep it in your hotel. You have to wash the parts every time you do it. Sometimes you have to do it on the plane if you're on an overnight flight and just hope nobody wakes up and looks at you. Like if the plane's dark enough, you could get away with that. And then you have to wear a special kind of bra. It's a fucking hassle, but it's so worth it.
This struggle is real.
So sometimes, yeah, in a rant, like a joke will come out of a rant, or sometimes I feel like say things, like honest things that just get a laugh. I don't know. It's a very non-linear, haphazard creative
I love
process.
that though.
I wish I was more disciplined. I wish I had more time to like sit down and write. But when you're like a mom, thank God I have the excuse of being a mom now. Like when you're a mom, you really don't have the time. What am I going to be like? Sorry, kiddo. I'm just gonna let you sit there while I look at my phone for an hour and write material. Like,
well, Chrissie, please tell everyone where they can find you, promote anything, shout out in these last couple minutes. Pretty please. I want everyone to support you in any way they can.
Thank you, Angela. Sorry, it was just a lot of rambling. I don't know.
No, it made sense. It was perfection.
Follow me on Twitter at Chrissie Mayr. That's spelled like this. And then on Instagram, Chrissie Mayr Pod. Subscribe to my YouTube channel where I do a lot of one-on-one interviews like this as well. And then every Sunday I have Simpcast, which is a panel show, mostly women, sometimes the occasional token dude, discussing all the important issues of the day. Always doing appearances like on Newsmax, OAN, InfoWars, The Blaze. I'm all over the place. Where else? Yeah, subscribe to the thing. Yeah, come see me on tour. Come see me in Ohio on the 18th, San Diego on the 23rd, Phoenix on November 1st, Albuquerque November 2nd, and Mount Kisco, New York on December 6th. For tickets, go to chrissiemayr.com. I think that's it. Thank you for having me, Angela.
Oh my gosh. I love you so much, Chrissie. You are so, so, so bold. We did not even have enough time to talk about all the ways that you're bold. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I heart you. I hope you come to Florida soon.
Oh, I'll have to make a special trip to see you.
Please. Oh my God, please. Anytime you're here. And if I'm in New York, I'll hit you up. Always a pleasure. You
Don't
rock.
come back to New York. It's a shithole. I'll have to come to Florida.
Come to Florida. Come to Florida. Get a break from the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bold Talk.